Hi there. I'm back to try to show y'all how to do a chain stitch and then how to work a double crochet into that chain. Unfortunately, I have a cough drop in my mouth because it's the only way I'm going to get my voice under control. And my washing machine is going, so I'm sure it's all very distracting. Like I said, always amateur at Crochet After Dark. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, let people know. Excuse me, I just want to have a little bit of fun with this channel, but it's always more fun if there are people on here making comments, asking questions, doing that kind of stuff. All right, so let's get started with our task at hand, and that is to learn how to make a chain stitch. One thing I'm going to tell you before I even get started, I really would suggest that you watch other creators and you watch particularly how they hold their hook and how they hold their yarn, because every one of us does it a little bit differently. What is comfortable for me may not be comfortable for you. And if you go and watch another creator, you're going to look at the way that he or she holds their yarn and go, Eureka, that's perfect. That's going to make everything a lot easier and more simple for me. So please don't think I am the be-all and end-all, because over the years, I've had a couple of issues with my hands. I haven't had carpal tunnel, but I've had instead what's called de Quervain's syndrome. You may see the scar here. It's sort of like carpal tunnel for your thumb, I guess. And so I've had to make some modifications to the way that I hold things. All right, so we've got our yarn here, and this Premier skein of yarn, and I noticed with all my Premier yarns, they usually have what we call a center pull. That is, I didn't pull that up, put that where y'all needed to see it. That is that out of the center of this ball, I can't make my finger work, the yarn starts feeding out of it. Some yarns do not have a center pull, and you can dig around with your fingers in either end and try to find the end of the yarn in there. Or probably the easiest thing at that point is to pop your ball band off and just work from the outside. The downside of working from the outside is that your ball will roll around on you. So if you're like me and you have cats and a dog, your floor is going to always be hairy and your yarn is always going to end up in your floor. So you may want to, you could put it in a plastic bowl, anything just to keep it from rolling around in the floor. One day I'll introduce you to all the various ways that you can contain your yarn and what you can do with it. So we've got this center pull. I'll say there's a couple of downsides to a center pull as well. And one is that when you first get your yarn out, it's very kinky. And sometimes as you start to pull your yarn, you'll have what we call yarn barf. It'll just be a big old tangle of yarn, and you have to kind of pick it apart so that you don't have a knot in it somewhere. So you got pluses and minuses. I know some people who like, even if they have a center pull, they'd prefer to work from the outside, while other people prefer the center pull. I really kind of like the center pull. So there you have it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, I'm moving my yarn out of my way there. First thing that we're going to do is make a slip knot and put it onto the hook. Now, some people will make that slip knot on their hook. Other people do it like I do. I take my yarn, put it around these two fingers. I bring it up, I bring it over, I make an X with it, sort of, and then I pull this. I'm not sure you can see it well. That little piece that's hanging down, that's going to become our tail. I pull it up and into the middle of this loop, and then I take my hook. I'm trying to do this through the camera, so it's sort of like everything is backwards. So give me a second here. I put it into that loop. You pull it tight, like so. And tighten it up on your hook. And now you have your yarn on your hook. This is not your first chain. This is just placing your yarn on your hook. So I've told you before that I hold my hook in what's called a knife grip. Hold it like this, just like you're going to cut meat with it. Other people, and you see how I'm having trouble with this, watching through the lens of the camera. Other people use a pencil grip on their hook. I have never been able to get comfortable with a pencil grip, but if you feel like that's the way that feels most comfortable to you, then find a creator who uses a pencil grip and watch how they do each of these stitches, because it probably is gonna be a little different. I would assume it's gonna certainly feel a little different to you rather than the way that I do it. So I've got this. I'm gonna get back in my grip. I want to make sure this is tight. I hold the tail, this piece here, I want it to the back side of my hook. See, it's going to be closest to the hook. And now I'm going to tension the yarn. I place it between these two fingers. I bring it up over my middle finger. I take that back, put it under my middle finger and over my top finger, my index finger. And I need to be a little bit closer to the yarn. This provides me with the tension that I need on the yarn so that my stitches are not too loose. Okay, so now the first chain, chains are very simple. You're going to catch your yarn. Now hold on to this right here, otherwise it's going to spin around like crazy on you. And you want to pull through. You've made one chain when you do that. We're going to do it again. Let me grab my tail. I'm going to pull over. I just showed you something bad there. I don't know if it's bad. It's the way I do things. And I've got my tension kind of tight here. So let me pull through. Okay. I'm going to try to do this appropriately. I'm going to pull this through. Now we've made 3 chains. We're going to keep on doing this. We call this a yarn over in other respects. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull it through that loop. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull it through this loop. And actually, I need to be closer to my hook. Come on now. I've got really tight tension going on tonight. It always makes me a little nervous when I get on here to talk with y'all. I don't know why. Okay, so I'm going to pull that through. Oh, come on. Now, some of you, as novices, your chains are going to be so tight, you're never going to be able, you think you're not going to be able to get anything through there, but you will. All right, so we're going to yarn over again, hang on to that, pull through. I'm going to readjust my yarn a little bit. I'm going to scoop that up. I'm going to come up close to my hook. I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to scoop that up, make sure I'm close to the hook, pull that through. Okay, so hopefully you're beginning to get a little hang of this. Maybe you have. I would advise maybe pausing the video, practicing on your own, coming back and watching a little bit more. Okay, scoop it up, pull it through. All right, now let me show you this stuff here. Cat's just slammed the chair into my back. Okay, so this is our chain base for anything that we would want to start on. This is not the only way you can make a foundation for something that you're going to crochet, but this, for many things, this is your basis right here. And it looks like you're looking at it going, I don't know how I could do anything else with that. Well, we're going to see about how we can do other things. I want to show you something here. Let me pull this up. Anytime you need to walk away and leave your crochet, just pull yourself up a loop like this so that you can come back to it in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pull these out like this. When we start looking at these chains, if you lost count, you can count them. You've got one chain right here. Look for the V's. Got another V, third V, whoops, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11, 12. I didn't really think I'd made that many. 13. This stitch does not count, this one that's down here at the bottom. So we've got 13 chains right here. This would provide us, these 13 chains could provide us the basis for something, who knows. Or your pattern might call for you to do 25 chains, or it could call for you to do 200 chains. Who knows what it's going to call for, but this is the way that you're going to start, okay? All right, I'm going to pause the video right now. I want you to practice. I'm going to make sure that I have 15 chains, and we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to put a double crochet into it. Okay, I'm back. I hope you've got your 15 chains done. So we're now going to learn how to put in a double crochet. Many patterns that you read, or many people will tell you that in order to start a double crochet row, you're going to double crochet into your third stitch from your chain. So that's going to be, see if I can find it here. This is your first stitch. This is your second stitch. And here's your third stitch. Okay, I may be counting wrong. Once I get my hook back on, I'll tell you for sure. I always count like this. I was telling you wrong. Here is, I look at it as, I count it with my hook. 1 stitch, 2 stitch. Here's my third stitch. Okay, so I'm going to hold that with my finger there. One of the reasons that we go to the third stitch to start, oh, I'm so sorry, I hit the camera, that we go there is to give us enough height for the double crochet. When you do a double crochet, your first thing that you're going to do, you're going to tension up your yarn again, if I can do that, okay, and you are going to yarn over. You're going to come to this 1, 2, third stitch, and I want you to see this. I'm going right through this little area here. I lost my yarn there, but that's okay. I can get it back. Okay, so I'm going to kind of make that larger so you can see it. There's one little loop there. You're going to go through it. Well, you're going to try to go through it, aren't you? You're going to yarn over again. I'm having trouble with this, y'all. This is all new to me, doing it like this. Crochet's not new. I'm trying to show somebody how to do it. Okay, I'm going to have to do it my way instead of trying to show y'all the right way. Excuse me just a minute while I get things hooked up here. All right, so then you're going to yarn over. You're going to pull through. And you now have, well, here we go. You now have 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. You're going to yarn over one more time. You're going to pull it through 2 of these. And then you're going to yarn over. You're going to pull it through your last 2. That is a double crochet. We're going to do it again. We're going to yarn over. Do you see how that is now pulled tight? So you know you've got that hook in, or that stitch in it. So we're going to find this one here. It looks almost like it's disappeared on you, right? It hasn't. Go through there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now we have 2 double crochets. Once again, you can see that that space is taken up with that stitch. So we're going to yarn over, going to go in. This is the tight one. I will say that. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to pull through 2. I don't know what I just said, y'all. And now I'm going to pull through 2. So we got 3 of them so far. All right. Let me get my yarn fixed up here. You see how I throw the yarn a lot of times? I don't know why I started doing that, but it works most easily for me. This is one reason that I suggested that you go and watch some other creators, because for them, if they're a righty, a right-hander, their right hand is doing all the work, all the scooping and everything. I don't know if it's because I'm about halfway ambidextrous that I want my left hand to do the work. I've never learned how to crochet left-handed, but maybe that's what the deal is. All right, I'm going to pull out some more yarn. We'll go back to our double crochets. All right, so we're going to yarn over. You see that that's where that stitch is, so we're going to the next one. You're going to go into this stitch. Mine is tight. You're going to yarn over again, pull it up. You want to pull it up so that it's high up like that. You don't want it all crunched up. If it's all crunched up, you're going to have a really crunched up stitch. I cannot seem to make that want to stay there. And you're going to pull through 2, and you're going to pull through the last 2. I'm going to yarn over. You're going to look to see that that chain has a stitch in it, so we're going to this one. You're going to pull this through. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2 stitches, yarn over, pull through 2 stitches. Okay, you're going to yarn over. You see that you've got a stitch there, so you're going into the next one. You go in here, pull this through, pull it up so you're not all crunched up, pull through 2, and pull through the last 2. Okay, I'm going to finish out my row while you finish out your row, and then I'm going to show you how to turn and start the next row. Okay, as you come to the end of your row, you may look at this and go, am I supposed to crochet in that spot? Yes, you are. So we're going to do our double crochet here. You're going to put that in there. It may be tight. Don't worry about that. Just get it in there. Pull that up. Yarn over. Pull through 2. And pull through your last 2. Okay, so now you have finished one row of double crochets. And it's going to be curly. Don't worry about that. It's going to be fine. I realize that I should be laying this down on the cloth that I have. And it also looks like it wants to curve a little bit. That's all right too, because right now we're just sort of laying the basis for what we're doing. Okay, ultimately here you should have 13 stitches. We skipped 2, so we'll only have 13. And right now we're ready to turn what we call it turning our work. All right, so here you want to, I'm going to pull that tight. You want to chain up 3. You're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then turn your work. Crochet does have a right side and a wrong side. We're going to be looking at the wrong side now. Some people do their chain before they turn. Some turn and then do their chain. Again, I think I would leave that up to you, how you're most comfortable. I like the way it looks when I do the chain before I turn. Okay, so now we're going to be crocheting right into the tops of these stitches. I'm going to hold this down here. You can see how you can see a little V at the top of each of these. If I look too closely, I don't see a V. I start seeing something else. But with each one of these little V's, we're going to be crocheting right under it, okay? And I'm going to do something that some people would, well, I'm not going to do that. All right, we're not going to crochet in this stitch. We're going to crochet in this one. Actually, I take that back. We're going to crochet in that one. Do a double crochet here. You're going to yarn over, go into this hole, pull this up, yarn over, pull it through 2, and pull it through 2. Okay? So now we're going to go to the next one. We want to get under both of these little stitches here. Okay? So I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to look at the top of it. I want to make sure I go under both of them. I'm going to yarn up, pull that up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. Okay, again, I'm going to yarn over. I want to make sure I go under both of those. So I'm going to go under the 2 of them. I'm going to pull that up, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. I'm going to yarn over. I've got to pull some yarn, hang on. Going to yarn over. I'm going to make sure I get through under both of these. I'll make sure I haven't skipped a stitch. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to yarn over, go underneath both of these stitches, pull that through, yarn over, pull it through 2 stitches, pull it through 2 stitches. Okay, so you're just going to keep going on this until you get to the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, you'll chain 1, 2, 3, turn your work, and do another row of double crochets. I'm going to let you work on that while I finish this out, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, when you're getting near your last stitch, you're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to yarn over here, go underneath, whoops, go underneath, grab your yarn, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now you're going to do the same thing here. This is our next to last stitch. This is where a lot of times people get a little confused because they see this little thing hanging out here and they're like, what do I do with that? Do I just ignore it and keep going? Well, if you ignore it, eventually you're going to have, your work is going to get narrower and narrower because you are missing the chain row that we created to start with. So we're going to look for the 2 stitches of the chain, and what I usually do is I worry through the first one and then I look for the back one. Let me tell you what, I'm going to drop all of this so I can show you better. I worry my way through this first one. I use my yarn needle. Let me get myself there. Okay, so I go through this one, and now I want to look for the back one, and it is hidden away right there. So we're going to be going through this stitch and that little piece. So let me grab hold of my yarn, get myself all ready again. And for beginning crocheters, I think this is one of the toughest parts, is being able to get through this chain at the end of a row. So you see I went through that part, and I always have my yarn in my way, if you'll notice. Let me move my head so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm going through the front. Let me move my yarn to the side there. And now I'm going to go through this back piece. Sometimes you have to work at it because it's going to be pretty tight. So there we go. And now I'm going to yarn over, pull it up. And yes, I turn my work all kinds of weird ways. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And now I'm going to say 1, 2, 3 chains, and I'm going to turn my work. Okay, so there we have it. We have 2 rows so far of double crochet. And like I said, don't worry about the fact that it's looking wonky. We're going to, if we were to continue with this, we could do all sorts of stuff with it along the way. Now, what you can do between now and the time I do the next video is you can just keep practicing on this. If you run into trouble, get in touch with me. I think my email address is included in the description of the channel, so feel free to do that. This is looking weird because that's my chain that's sticking up there. Get in touch with me, send me pictures, show me what you're doing. I'll try to give you a hand with it. But if you're new to crocheting, just spend some time making chains. Spend some time making double crochets. I will tell you that what I always found when I first, not even when I first started crocheting, but when I first got back into it, my chain row, which is bugging me because that's not in the right place. I think I added a stitch actually in my piece, so I probably did a bad thing. but my chain row would be very, very tight, and I had trouble getting my double crochets into it. So my good friend Tara, she would always have to do my foundation row and my first row of double crochet or single crochet or whatever it might be, and then I could take off from there. And I spent some time just playing with little swatches like this. This is what we call this. This is a swatch. And I spent a lot of time just playing with these until I could perfect my tension and I could perfect the way that my stitches looked. So spend some time just playing with it. Go to Walmart, get you some cheap yarn, get you some Red Heart Super Saver or some Mainstay, and play with it. It's not the nicest yarn in the world, but it's okay. It'll be just fine. All right, I hope that this video hasn't completely and utterly confused you and put you off of crochet. Like I said, I would encourage you to go and look at what other creators do, because there are some who, of course, have much better setups than I have. Their lighting is better, and they're not using a dish towel on their desk to try to give you some sort of a background to look at this against. But go and see what other creators do, because you can learn a lot from them. I still watch them. I go and watch stitch tutorials just so I can watch other creators' hands. Excuse me, so I can see what they're doing. All right, I'm going to let you go at this point. I hope that, like I said, I hope I didn't confuse you too much. I'm more than happy to try to talk you through any problems or any issues, and I'll be seeing you soon with another video. Bye-bye.